What if your life is not only shaped by what you do consciously, but also by forces you don't even see? Carl Gustav Jung believed that the human psyche is not a simple system. It is a living structure full of hidden dynamics, tensions, and patterns that constantly influence your behavior, relationships, and decisions. And sometimes, these patterns reveal themselves in ways that seem almost impossible to explain. Jung called one of these phenomena synchronicity. Synchronicity is what we usually call coincidence, but not just any coincidence. It is a meaningful coincidence. Something happens in your inner world, and at the same time, something mirrors it in the outer world. You think about someone you haven't seen in years, and suddenly they call you. You dream about a symbol, and the next day you encounter it in real life. There is no direct cause, no clear explanation, but the connection feels real. Jung believed that synchronicity reveals that the psyche and reality are not completely separate. That meaning can exist beyond cause. But most of the time, the unconscious does not speak through synchronicity. It speaks through something much more ordinary and much more dangerous: projection. You don't see people as they are. You see them as you are. This is one of the most important ideas in Jungian psychology. Projection happens when you unconsciously assign your own traits to other people. What you admire in others, what you hate, what irritates you the most, often says more about you than about them. When someone triggers a strong emotional reaction, look inward. Something inside you is being activated. Projection is a mechanism. It is the psyche trying to show you something you are not yet ready to see. And this is where we encounter one of Jung's most powerful concepts, the shadow. The shadow contains everything you reject about yourself, everything that does not fit your self-image: anger, weakness, fear, envy, but also creativity, strength, and potential. It is everything that remains unconscious. Instead of recognizing it within, you project it outward. You see arrogance in others, but not in yourself. Jung believed that what you react to the most in others is often a reflection of your own unconscious. Growth begins when you take the projection back. Jung also described complexes, emotionally charged patterns that behave almost like independent personalities inside you. A complex can take control of your reactions without you realizing it. For example, someone with a rejection complex may overreact to even small criticism. It feels intense, but the reaction is not coming only from the present moment. It is coming from a deeper pattern. Something inside you is pulling the strings. Even the ego is a complex. It gives you the sense of I. It organizes your thoughts, memories, and identity. It is necessary, but it is also limited. When the ego becomes too dominant, it believes it is the whole psyche. It ignores everything unconscious. This creates imbalance, often appearing as inner conflict between the ego and the shadow. The ego wants to be good and rational. The shadow contains everything that contradicts that image. The more the ego rejects it, the stronger it becomes. Repressed feelings grow in the unconscious. Another conflict exists between the ego and the anima or animus. The anima is the inner feminine in a man. The animus is the inner masculine in a woman. These are living psychological forces shaping your emotions and relationships. Integration leads to maturity. When unconscious, they distort perception. You don't fall in love with a real person, you fall in love with your projection. Even deeper lies the tension between the ego and the self. The ego is not the center of the psyche. The self is. The self represents the totality of your being, conscious and unconscious together. It is the deeper organizing principle, and often the self pushes the ego toward growth, but the ego resists. It wants control and stability. The self wants transformation. This creates tension. Many life crises are moments when the self tries to guide the ego toward wholeness. What you call yourself is only the surface, often shaped by the persona, your social mask. The persona helps you function, but it is not your true self. Clinging to it leads to disconnection. This can even lead to addiction, a pattern of escaping inner conflict instead of confronting it. The shadow drives destruction while the eternal child avoids reality. Some believe they are evolving, but they are actually escaping through spiritual bypassing, seeking light without confronting darkness. But Jung was clear, there is no real growth without confrontation with the unconscious. You cannot skip the shadow. Some believe they are evolving, but they are actually escaping through spiritual bypassing, seeking light without confronting darkness. But Jung was clear, there is no real growth without confrontation with the unconscious. You cannot skip the shadow. Integration is the final idea. Jung's psychology is not about becoming perfect or eliminating darkness. It is about integrating all parts of the psyche: projection, shadow, archetypes. The goal is wholeness, to become a person who is aware. The person who looks outside dreams, but the person who looks inside awakens. Join us as we continue to explore the depths of the human psyche.